is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello. Well, let's get back to it.
Climate activists interrupted the Liz Bot's appearance at the latest Conservative leadership hustings to highlight what they claimed was her failure to tackle the global heating crisis. Thanks a lot, Liz. During Blunder Truss's opening remarks at the Winter Garden Theatre in Eastbourne, wherever that is, several activists from the youth group Green New Deal Rising, which I think that was Creedence Clearwater Revival, wasn't it?
Rock and roll!
Green New Deal Rising. Pretty sure it was, yeah. You know Creedence Clearwater Revival, don't you?
No.
They stood to heckle Truss about the government's record on her policies. They said, "Boo!" Fatima Ibrahim could be heard shouting, "Liz Truss, you should be ashamed of yourself," which is, that's just a fact. Another activist then stood while Fatima was being removed from the event, saying that Truss had no credible plan to tackle the biggest energy crisis. What you've announced will not help people with energy bills over £3,000 a year. That's right. What has Liz Truss actually suggested? Suck it up? Something like that. Oh, grow up. Something like that. Suffer. Something of that order, I bet. 3 more activists were also seen protesting, and later in the event, another protester was escorted out after interrupting proceedings. And I did notice, although it was a relatively tight camera shot, but the only people that did not look like they belonged to a white middle-class golfing club were the bouncers. Did you notice that? They stuck out like sore thumbs. Now, keep in mind that ever since those people glued their faces to the road, which doesn't seem like a good idea under any circumstances, really. Why do you want to glue your face to the road? Glue some other part of you to the road. Or preferably don't use glue at all. It's bad for the environment. Since those people glued their faces to the road, I've lost count of the number of politicians from all sides saying that we should insulate Britain's homes to combat climate change and ease the cost of heating, which is exactly what they were on about. But when they were yelling it from the M25, it was, oh, no, these people need to be put in a rocket and blasted into space. And as soon as they stopped yelling it, politicians said, hey, you know what? We should insulate Britain's homes. Great idea. Why didn't they think of that? They said. But instead of doing anything about it, the government sought to enact more powers to deal with protests that they already have plenty enough powers to deal with already. That's 2 uses of the word already in the same sentence. Big mistake. Huge. Well, you know, here we go again, because Blunder Truss's response to being told that on the subject of her leadership...
That is a disgrace.
That she was going to lock them all up. She came over all dictatorial and threatened even more draconian restrictions on our freedoms. And the dopes in the audience gave her a round of applause for that, thinking, well, it's not my freedom she's going to take away. Oh, really? Yeah, just wait. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. The Truss bot broke off from her speech to promise an immediate crackdown on protesters if she becomes Prime Minister. The audience of Conservative members and supporters booed the activists and gave the idea of more crackdowns a round of applause. Because, you know, they're the Freedom Party. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up, really, could you? And I ain't. Truss said, I would legislate immediately to make sure that we are standing up to militant trade. And, you know, anything that they say after the word militant, you can just assume that it's all like this. It's just absolute nonsense. What are they on about? Militant. What do you mean by militant? People who actually speak up? Is that what you mean? People who take action? Are you part of a militant government? No, because they don't take action. It's I'm going to do this. It's the I'm gonnas. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And when they say that, people think, oh, well, that problem's solved. We can forget about that now. And then they don't do anything about it. Oh, we're going to enact new laws. Yeah, what, to replace the exact same laws that we already have to provide for this exact situation? Is that what you mean? Truss said, I would legislate immediately to make sure that we are standing up to militant trade unions who stop ordinary commuters from getting into work. Well, I've been on the tube. I've never seen an ordinary commuter in my life. She said, I would legislate to protect our essential services. What? The services you've been running down for the past 12 years? She said, and I will make sure that militant activists such as Extinction Rebellion are not able to disrupt ordinary people who work hard, do the right thing, and go into work. What? Now, wait a minute. They work hard, and then they do the right thing, and then they go into work? Or can they go into work and then work hard while doing the right thing? Don't get it. You see, if you get it in the wrong order, you don't get extra points. Any fool know that.
And it was 30 or 35 questions. The first questions are very easy. The last questions are much more difficult. Like a memory question, it's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. So they say, could you repeat that? So I said, yeah. So it's woman, camera, TV. Okay, that's very good. If you get it in order, you get extra points. Okay, now he's asking you other questions, and then 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question? Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go, woman, man, person, man, camera, TV. If you get it in order, you get extra points. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy. And that's not an easy question. In other words, they ask it to you, they give you 5 names and you have to repeat them, and that's okay. If you repeat them out of order, it's okay, but you know, it's not as good. But then when you go back about 20, 25 minutes later and they say, go back to that question, they don't tell you this, go back to that question and repeat them. Can you do it? And you go, camera, man, person, woman, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that? I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
Cognitively there.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
He used to be the leader of that country. Can you believe that?
I can be more presidential than anybody.
It would be like having Gavin Williamson, the leader of this country. Which at this point I wouldn't be surprised about. Maybe he is. Which would answer a lot of questions. What do you think, Smug?
I don't know anything.
He still doesn't know anything. I think we should get Kanye West to run the show.
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
I couldn't agree more. Truss said, I will never ever allow our democracy to be disrupted by unfair protests. You might as well say, I will never ever allow our democracy to be disrupted by voting. That's right out. I mean, can she even hear herself over the noises of approval from her Tory member fan club who would demand that she would be thrown out of her job if any of those restrictions were to impinge on them in any way, shape or form? But they don't mind it impinging on others, especially others what don't talk, walk and squawk exactly like they do. People who don't wear red trousers, for instance.
No!
One of the protesters said afterwards, Liz Truss is likely to become the next Prime Minister. Yeah. Can you believe that? Liz Truss is likely to become our next Prime Minister.
Oh, fabulous.
Isn't that absolutely incredible? What happened to this country? Answers on a postcard to the following address. Just don't leave your name and address, because people will be checking on you from now on. In fact, there's probably a camera on you right now. One of the protesters said afterwards, Liz Truss is likely to become the next Prime Minister, but she has nothing credible to say in response to the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis. The UK just experienced record-breaking heat waves, and energy giants are raking in billions of dollars, while every day people are pushed further into poverty as prices soar and wages stagnate. Yet that doesn't seem like a mistake. That seems like the plan. The protester said, as young people who are scared for our futures, we desperately need a Green New Deal and political leadership to meet this moment of crisis rather than this sideshow. Yeah, well, the best of luck with that.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Because I'm not expecting it to get any better anytime soon. What you'll get instead of some policies to tackle issues that they rightly raise are more restrictions on their ability to raise those points. Problem solved. Just think, what would Donald Trump do? That's usually what you can view it, anything that this regime does through the prism of what would Donald Trump do? Except these days it's more like what would Vladimir Putin do? Are you a friend of Russia, Liz? Can I interest you in some borscht? Do you love rubles? How's the Tory party bank balance, by the way?
We have never had it so good.
I bet. 0345 6060 973. Here's a call in... let's have Guildford. Peter.
Hello, Nick.
Peter.
How are you?
I am super. Thanks for asking.
When Mad Liz talks about militant unions and so on, people have to remember what she's talking about, or think about what she's talking about. She's talking about nurses, teachers, railwaymen.
Yeah, lefty activists, one and all.
Refuge collectors who are talking about industrial action so that they can get somewhere near being able to pay their bills.
Right.
Meanwhile, however...
Just plain greedy. Yeah, they're causing inflation that has started already without them actually having a pay rise, so figure that out. I can't.
Meanwhile, however, he doesn't want any more windfall taxes on the energy companies because, Nick, they won't invest, you know.
Yeah, all of those companies will leave this country because there's no money to be earned here.
I know.
Right.
And it's the contradiction. It's so obvious what's happening. She and all the rest of the Tories defend the rich and powerful like they've always done. And anyone, we praise the nurses and we praise the teachers and so on, and rightly so.
Well, not the teachers, mind you. We gave the nurses a round of applause for a couple of minutes on a Thursday in 2020. What else do they want?
Well, that was supposed to be their reward.
Yeah,
from Boris.
That was their reward. That's all they get.
But it seems to me
try spending that at the petrol station.
It seems to me that at a time when people are going to struggle to pay their bills, that it's ludicrous, Nick, that at this time, when people are going to go through those difficulties, we, the public, cannot elect the PM.
Yeah, we the people
cannot have a general election.
Right. Well, that's a little bit too much democracy there, Peter. Let's get carried away.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a bit radical.
Yeah. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we never got to vote for our leader again. It was entirely taken out of our hands for our own good. At this point, I would not be surprised if they cancelled the next general election for the good of the people. It's what the people want. All right, thanks a lot, Peter. Don't get too wound up. It's only life. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yeah, you bet your life it is. Text and tweets from last night. There is, let me just see, that's impossible. 17 pages of texts and tweets that I've got to get through from last night. Oh, no. Before I get on to tonight. 17? Peter says, we've got loads of rain in Manchester. Yeah, no doubt. Zach says, well, why can't the government spend some of the Brexit dividend on some bottled water from France? Well, how about some of that gutter water from Manchester? Poppy says, while Fishy and Trussy are talking all over TV screens, who's actually running the country? Where are all the cabinet ministers? Yeah, where are you, Bodge? Curious minds are keen to find out.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Who's soon to be in the House of Lords chateau are you copping a freebie off this time? You dad-dancing cheapskate? Because you ain't paying for it yourself, are you? Di emails, us Welsh and them Scots could sell water to the English. We ended up in the mountains because the Saxons and Normans drove us off the good flat land. Ask any Welshman or Scot. Do the English think we're climbing hills in the rain? No. Do the English think we like climbing hills in the rain? Wow, it's like an education, this show, isn't it?
No.
Not really, no. Dell says Dominic Raab is a Rick Mail lookalike. I think he's an attack dog lookalike. That man does look like he needs a walk. Ricelip. Hello, Colin.
Hello, Nick.
He needs a walk and to get fixed. It looks like he's about to launch an attack at any point. Yes, Colin.
I'm not going to launch an attack. Listen, a great opening thing about the government doing a U-turn on insulated everyone's homes.
Yeah.
Well,
they haven't actually done anything about it yet. They just said they're going to.
My house, my council house, was insulated 15 years ago. The council drilled holes in all the walls, filled it full of stuff.
Yeah.
My electricity and gas bill, up until September, with the company, was £100 a month. I've just been told I've got to pay £348 a month from September.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, you've already filled my walls with anything. Shall I build another wall to fill a bit more?
Would you like to live in a cardboard box in the middle of your living room, Colin?
I'd be warmer in an igloo.
That's my best suggestion. Yeah, you could build an igloo in your kitchen. Yeah, excellent idea.
The other thing which I read in the paper today, that all these wonderful politicians have been subsidised for £1 million plus for eating all the finest food in their subsidised canteen.
Yeah.
So we're paying for that as well. So why don't the government's going to give us £400 back on electricity?
No, they're not. They're not. That is a total and utter flat-out mistruth. Liar! They're not giving you the... Colin, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Yes, exactly. They're not giving you the money. They're subsidising the electricity and gas companies.
Yep. So what they're doing is they're racking up the prices and then charging me this much for my gas and electricity. Unbelievable.
It is. Well, no, you're wrong there, Colin. It's believable. Where have you been for the last 12 years? It's totally believable.
Did you listen to Jack and Ori?
Well, I have listened to Jack and Ori, but not lately.
Well, that's a big story, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And this is what we're being played by the government.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Then I'll begin.
Yeah. He's ended. Excellent work there, Colin. Thanks a lot, mate. Kate says, when my dad went home to St Vincent, he told me to leave while I could. I thought he was overreacting, but he knew better. I voted Remain because I'm not... Now, this isn't me saying this. This is Kate saying this. So grip onto something firm, because 46% of the 70% that could be bothered to go out and vote are not going to like this. Just keep in mind that it's Kate saying this, not me. Kate says, I voted Remain because I am not a moron. That's what Kate says. And now I am stuck here, she says, because as far as I know, I can only live abroad 3 months out of 6. I think people will be volunteering to go to Uganda just to get out. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
David says, I live in Lincolnshire and I'm not banned from using my hosepipe, so if anyone who is currently under a ban wants to send me a message, you can borrow mine. Good idea, David. I can't see any holes in that idea. St Albans. Hello, Jerry.
Hey, hi. How are you?
Great, mate.
Good. I've got a bit of a scenario, actually. So
what?
A bit of a scenario.
A scenario.
I was wondering what Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy are actually sorting out in this world, in the UK at the moment. So,
what are you talking about?
Liz Truss and Schumer. They're talking about stuff that is not really important right now.
Yeah, well, they're not talking to you, Jerry. They're talking to the boars that prop up the bar at the golf club. Those are the only people that they're interested in right now.
Yeah, I know, but we're suffering.
Yeah, they don't care. We're suffering.
But hence why I called them Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog, yeah.
You know, I mean, so this is it. This is where we're all going.
Right.
You know, we've got power cuts, which will probably be hitting in the winter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. people not being able to pay their bills, and all they're thinking about is they're just bantering amongst themselves. They're not actually facing the policies that people really want to be listening to right now.
Well, it's like they're playing poker, and one keeps upping the ante. Well, I'm going to crack down on benefit layabouts. Well, I'm going to crack down on people that protest. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Well, then I'm going to crack down on every second person I see in the street. It's going to get like that. Don't worry about it, Jerry. In St Albans, you'll be just fine. If you stay within the environ of St Albans, you'll be just fine. And feel sorry for Rishi, though, or as you describe him, Kermit the Frog, because it's not easy being green. That's just a fact. Thanks a lot, Jerry. David texts, I live in Lincolnshire. Oh, no, I've read that. Wow, see, I'm already ahead of myself. Not even half an hour gone. And I've only got 16 pages of this stuff to go before I embark on tonight's emails. Tony emails, perhaps the answer to the water shortage is that the water companies be made to fix the leaking blooming infrastructure. 2.8 million litres a day. Leaking. That must be worth a few £1 million in bonuses to the chief executives, says Tony. Yeah. That's right. And I do have detailed files about that, about the water people. You know the water people, don't you? No! Yeah, what kind of a stupid country, by the way, would sell off its water? I mean, really, who does that? Water. If this lot could monetize air, we'd be, all of our noses would be on a meter right now. We'd be shallow breathing. Water they sold. I mean, really. And we let them do it. Incredible. And what have they done? Well, the people bought the water companies from us, who are scattered all over the globe, from here to Abu Dhabi and back. They've loaded up their companies with massive amounts of debt and then used that debt to reward the chief executives for excellence in showing up for work. Sounds like a plan to me. Sounds like capitalism working, just as it should. 99% of us get absolutely nothing, and all of the rewards go to the top 1%. Most specifically to the top 0.1%. Those people are geniuses. Daniela emails, up north, we love the Northern Research Group. It makes us sound like we are an unknown species under investigation. Who are these Northerners, says Daniela. I do believe that I said something to that effect last night. All of these very, very sinister-sounding Tory subgroups, like the European Research Group, which is just a bunch of old geezers who stand at the cliffs of Dover and boo France. No! They're doing a lot of research. And the Northern Research Group just makes it sound like they're experimenting on people with whippets. Jack says, if this drought becomes so severe to the point that we're all dying of dehydration, dreaming of a droplet of water to touch our lips, Rishi would go on TV and turn on a giant tap while laughing like a cartoon villain. That would probably get him elected, actually. Yes, I think it would. Yeah, it would, yeah. All of the people who are really, really dying of dehydration, who need the water the most, they would vote for the Conservative Party, because that seems to be the way. I don't get it myself. But they insist on doing that over and over and over again. Hey, how's that Brexit going for you, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Really working out, eh? Tracy says, I own 2 kinetic watches. What does that mean? What's a kinetic watch? I am not a scientist, boasts Tracy, but why can't Big Ben be kinetic with its bells and provide a light for Downing Street, maybe? When time stops, they will meet the rest of us on the same level. Wow, you just blown my mind.
Yowza.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But it does give me the excellent opportunity to play this. Stu says, Stu says, have you heard about the development to store electricity using sand? Yes, I was discussing that on this show some while ago. The first such facility has just gone online in Finland. Finnish people, always so perfect. So all we need now is to get our hands on a load of sand. Which countries have that in abundance, I wonder, says Stu. Yeah. Eastbourne? I think Eastbourne's got sand, or is that somewhere else? I don't know. We'll find some. Don't worry about it, Stu. Yeah, they're making batteries out of sand, which means at any moment now, this government will sell all of our sand to France. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Yes, this one flashing in Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, hi. Hi, Nick. Are you okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, good. Just last night you were talking about hospital coffee.
Oh, yes.
Funnily enough, in the last year, I have an experience of NHS and private. I mean, private through the NHS. But the private coffee is a lot better.
Private coffee is a lot better, yes.
Yeah. It's just, it just hits the point.
It's a more sophisticated product.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just after an operation. You don't want a great big meal. You just want a sandwich and a coffee. And, yeah, but the service, from both NHS and private is just superb,
The service?
World class. Yeah, well, it's not service, the treatment that you get. I think, I couldn't say private is better or, a lot of people say, I want to go private. No, I went through the NHS because they kind of fast-track. Anyway, enough of that. I just... what I really
plenty
found
enough.
Sorry?
Go on.
Sorry?
That's way too much. Carry on.
Way too much, yeah. No, it's just sort of so that. But, from my point of view, you often say the 70s was the best decade for music. I disagree on that.
Well, that makes you wrong then, doesn't it?
No.
I'm afraid so. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
What I will say...
What will you say?
I would say the 70s, for me, was the last great classic era for Hollywood movies. I mean, nowadays the movies, it's all cartoons and superheroes.
Yeah, those are films for children. Don't see films for children, and you'll be better off, John.
Yeah, but in the 60s, the 70s, we had all the, Eastwood, Bronson, Burt Reynolds, all those sort of...
Oh, my God. They sound like films for children as well. Apart from the Clint Eastwood one. Bronson? Are you kidding? All right, as long as I know where the level is that we're at, John. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Charles Bronson, really? Great films? I think not. Rob texts. Sorry I'm a bit late to the party. I just caught up on your show last weekend, in particular the debate on which decade produced the best music. Oh, you see, wow, see how this all fits in? It's like circular, baby. Groovy. He said, I hear you on the 70s, but would you agree the 80s produced some of the very best albums by the biggest artists? No, I wouldn't. Queen, Bowie, Dire Straits, New Order, ZZ Top, and Kate Bush. Well, in that order... No. You have got to be kidding me. David Bowie produced some of his best albums in the 1980s? That's funny. But not in a good way. Julia says, with all these tough economic times, where are the Prime Minister and the Chancellor to try to settle the nation down? Well, I think the nation is doing just fine without them. Mind you, now they're all out of town, but they're all insisting that they're very, very contactable. Yeah, they're all at the end of a phone. All you've got to do is try and figure out where they are. What's their number? No idea. But if you knew their number, then you'd be able to get in touch. They are waiting for your call. But with everybody else out of town, that does mean that we are currently being run by angular, tetchy humanoid Dominic Deckchair. Rob! What could possibly go right? Just don't let him on the furniture. Keep him off the chairs. James emails, I just wanted to say thank you for all your sound effects.
Thank you.
He says, my wife sounds like she is the voice of at least 50% of them, those ones that say dreadful.
Dreadful.
By the way, thank you for not keeping us sane. Well, thank you for not saying it. Appreciate it, James. And Kelly says, what do you make of Keir Starmer's authority after Lisa Nandy joining a picket line? What do I think of Keir Starmer's authority? Well, I have a couple of thoughts about Keir Starmer. The one that strikes me most is...
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. He's an expert on hair products. Merseyside. Hello, Nora.
Hi, Dick.
Nora.
You seem to be a little acerbic tonight. I don't know whether it's my imagination.
Acerbic? Maybe it's your imagination running away with you.
Possibly. Now, don't sing. I thought we agreed we don't sing.
No, we agreed you don't sing. I can break into a song anytime I like.
Point taken. And you have got a nice voice. But I was going to talk about Rishi Sunak and his faux pas.
His what now?
Tunbridge Wells, the episode.
Oh.
It's like, have you ever been on a bus with a 4-year-old? Don't incriminate yourself, but have you?
No, I've never been on a bus with a 4-year-old. Not my own 4-year-old, anyway, but I've been on a bus with other people's 4-year-olds, like when they had to, around. Painful. Yeah, I would leave that. I would leave that bus.
And they make comments, but you think, you just say it. You don't say it, you just think it.
Right.
And that's a bit like Rishi Sunak and the Conservative Party.
Yeah, just...
Because he let the cat out of the bag about the tax cuts, didn't he, near the election?
They just don't care anymore. Yeah, they don't care anymore. They're just blurting out the quiet part because they know that there are no consequences to however unpleasant, nasty and evil they are. The people that vote Conservative will just keep doing it regardless of, how it works out for them.
I just think he's a 4-year-old on a bus. I think he just says things that they don't expect him to say, and he gets away with it somehow. Yeah. But good on him.
He always looks to me. He always looks to me like a puppy that you come back and the puppy has peed on the kitchen floor and it knows it's done something wrong, and it looks at you with those please don't be nasty to me eyes.
He looks at Dominic Raab with the whip.
Yeah. Well,
but he's a black bear in judo, so nobody's going to cross him.
Is he? Okay,
you never pee on the floor when Dominic Raab's around.
Well, that is true.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I could help myself. It's a little bit frightening. All right, thanks a lot, Nora. That took an unpleasant turn about midway through that conversation, and I apologise.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
I am sorry that Nora screwed up. Kath says, Rishi Sunak is so rich, I bet he's never been anywhere near a car with windows that you actually have to manually wind yourself. He wouldn't know how to do it, just like he didn't know how to use a debit card. I bet he doesn't know how to use the switch that winds down the window. He's got people for that. That does seem pretty lazy, by the way, doesn't it? I mean, you don't have a button to put up your windows in your house, do you? I mean, not unless you're a James Bond villain. And we're right next to the window in the car. It's there. Whereas at home, we'd have to get up from the chair and walk all the way across the living room to the window to manually open it. Whereas if they just, inserted a button in the armrest of your chair, God, wouldn't that be marvellous? But they do it in a car. What for? I mean, how hard is it to manually wind your own window down? And it's just something else to go wrong. Plus, if you drive off a bridge into a river and the car's electrics go out, you won't be able to get out of that car. Because you won't be able to wind the window down to equalise the pressure on both sides so that you can open the door. Wow, that's physics. So far we've had history and physics. It's like being back in school.
Boring.
Francesca says, I live in a tiny one-bedroom flat with my son in Tunbridge Wells. I've spent 10 years sleeping in my living room so my son can have a bedroom. I can't afford the rent. This sounds like a sad text. I'll scan ahead. Right. Well, that is a sad tale, Francesca. But, you're harshing my buzz. Jeremy texts, the reason we've had 13 years of Tory-led governments is because Labour keep losing elections. This is something you need to address on your show rather than attacking the Tories. I have addressed... Hello? Is this thing on? Are you kidding me? I talk about that all the time. Till I am blue in the face. All the time I talk about that. Stewing in the delicious agony of losing. They love it on the left. Absolutely do. You know, at this moment, when the Tories are fighting each other to a standstill, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Affirmative.
Well, it made me laugh. I mean, even if nobody else is amused, I am. So, no. You know, Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Affirmative.
Yeah. And you'd think that they would just, you know, let them have their moment of disaster in the limelight and people can see how awful they are, or they all are. But, oh, no, the Labour Party aren't going to do that. They want to wrest the spotlight away from the Tories and show everyone how awful they are. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Archway. Hello, James.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, James.
Nick.
James.
Oh, you were talking about ex-militant and his trust. Well, now, an ex-militant of Labour did very, very well for himself, and he was sacked, of course, from the Labour Party by Neil Kinnock, and became a multi-millionaire. He, in fact, he joined. I think he's gone back to join the party, and Liz Taylor or Liz Truss would say, "Oh my God, he's one of us."
James, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but it does fit in with everything else that's going on here. But I appreciate it. I really, whatever it is, wherever it is you're going, I don't want to follow, if that's okay with you. But thanks for the input. Nadra text, been listening to your show for around a year, absolutely love them and agree Labour have a sort of self-defeatist attitude, so I can see Liz winning the general election in 2 years. Liz will win the general election in 2 years.
Oh, no.
I betcha. She'll just make a lot of promises she has absolutely no intention of keeping. And people all over the country will go, oh, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, we want to get Brexit done. And send more people to Rwanda. And we want to whip the layabouts. And everybody that's underneath me on the ladder, well, we're going to have to put them all in prison. And then my life will be absolutely perfect. And then all the people that voted for him last time, who have been suffering for, the last, 3 years and then the 9 years before that, they'll think, well, previous experience is no indicator of what might happen in the future if I continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. James says, please help, I feel like a hypocrite. When the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial was plastered over every website earlier this year, I felt a sense of superiority in not partaking in any of it. But this ongoing Alex Jones trial is like a drug to me. There's just something so delicious about watching reprehensible human beings squirm. Yeah, he is reprehensible. I don't know about the human being part, but he is reprehensible. Bristol, hello, John. Oh, no, wait. Hey, John, I've just seen what time it is. Would you mind holding there one moment?
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, see, now, that's just very, very considerate of him.
Be polite!
At all times. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hot air. H-O-T-A-I-R.
Kath says, from the hosepipe ban list of things you're not allowed to do, it sounds like you're allowed to use hosepipes for commercial purposes. So all of the rich Conservatives will be absolutely fine because their gardeners will be allowed to use hosepipes to water their gardens for them because that will be for commercial purposes. One rule for them, says Kath. No, all of the rules are for us, Kath. They have no rules. Get it right. Bristol. Oh, yeah, Bristol. Hello, John. Sorry about that. Forgot about you. There you are.
Yes, Nick. Hello, good evening.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now, as to the question, what is the greatest decade for music? Well, I like to expand it out just a few years, and the greatest period for music, and this is the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, the greatest period of music post-war is 1965 to 1980, inclusive. That is the greatest period of music post-war, and that is the correct answer, and everyone else is wrong. Followed probably by the 90s. The 90s was also an exceptionally great decade for music.
Wow.
But, 65 to 80, Nick.
Right.
That is the correct answer.
Right. What you know about music, you could write on the tape of a cassette.
I would hope so, yes. Being a musician myself.
What do you play?
I like to think I know a little about what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm afraid you might like to think that you know a little about what you're talking about, but I'm afraid the bad news is, John, and you might want to prepare yourself for this, that you don't.
I know nothing, mate.
You know nothing is the right answer. But I appreciate it, John. Thanks very much for that misinformation. Nessie texts, milk and mackerel. Wasn't that a Dr. Feelgood song? Yeah, it was. The cardamom, milk and mackerel. Chris texts, I do not like milk, Nick. I don't like the coating on the roof of my mouth and throat. If I have to use it, I get lactose-free skimmed. Lactose-free skimmed.
Disgusting.
That's just white water. What do you want to drink that for? Simon texts, Benny and the Jets was recorded in a studio, not live. Is that a fact? Well, I did not know that. I have been suspicious about that for a very, very long time. Is that true? Benny. Still got it. Not me, him. Toulouse. Hello, Martin.
Nick, hi. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, actually, I should just correct that. I have recently moved to the Dordogne, by the way, so gone a little bit further north, and but still in the. So far we've had physics, history, and now geography. Yeah, absolutely.
This is a very educational show. Yes.
No. Yeah, I just wanted to, in a way, catch up with you because we might have crossed paths. I don't know, but anyway, you often talk about the 1982 Glastonbury Festival.
Yes.
And you were there.
I was there.
And
I was there, yes. Physically, anyway.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. CND Festival, as you might remember it being labelled at the time.
I don't.
It was the Glastonbury CND Festival. It was all very de rigueur. And,
de rigueur were playing. Oh, they were fantastic, weren't they?
They were great, weren't they? Yeah, what a missed opportunity. Honestly, had that happened, it was been great. But anyway, all I wanted to say really was that, because I've heard you talk about that year, that was the year that my band produced a single for the festival, which was a really odd thing, but it happened that year that CND wanted a fundraising single. So it was on sale at the festival, so you could buy it at various stalls and whatever, and they played it about 3 or 4 times a day over the PA system between the bands playing. So
what was it called?
It was quite surreal. The single was called Radioactive.
Well, that rings a bell. Oh, no, that only rings a bell because there was wasn't there a radio show called Radioactive?
Might have been, yeah.
Don't know.
Anyway, we were called the Vital Organs, and so that was the idea. So basically, we went down to meet Michael Levis, and it was all arranged and all of that, and it was great fun. But the weird thing is, I don't remember anything about it either.
Well, I bet I could name one thing that you would think, yeah. In the main festival, in the main pyramid field, which, by the way, you could park in and put your tent by your car. That's how small it was back in 1982. You could actually park right in front of the pyramid stage and put your tent by your car. There was I ate almost 3 meals a day from this place called Sandy's Snacks. Do you remember that?
I don't actually.
Oh right. So you weren't into.
But I
weren't really into eating. I understand.
Well, it wasn't so much that. I went one better than the tent. I had a transit van and kitted it all out, as did the other band members. We had two transit vans that we sort of carpeted from top to bottom, inside out.
Very smart.
Not out, inside. I think I can correct that. We. But you could literally drive to the best vantage point if you got there a couple of days early. looking with a slight. If you got on the hill a bit, so you had the downward view.
Yeah,
incredible.
I know.
Incredible, and it was a good year. And so anyway, so inadvertently and somewhere in your subconscious, you will have heard radioactive by the vital organs. And yes, it was our little moment in the sunshine. But I often think of that when you talk about you being there in 1982, because. Anyway, that was...
Well, I can confirm that I don't recall a single thing about it, but I'm sure it was excellent in every regard. All right, thanks a lot, Martin. I think that you're either your alarm bell is going, or you've got a fire in your house, or somebody is trying to contact you on your other line. I would investigate that straight away. James says, in the contest between Leeds Truss and Fishy Sunak, the real winner looks to be unreconstructed Thatcherism. This defunct ideology continues to be touted as the solution to the nation's woes when it really is the cause of them. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who sold off our water and our electricity and our gas and every other blooming thing that we used to own in this country? What kind of a stupid country would sell its water? I mean, really? Water. There's a whole James Bond film about evil people that want to take control of water. It's not a very good one, mind. But then, what's his name? Daniel Craig only really appeared in 2 good Bond films, didn't he? The rest were like, not really. You don't really need to see him twice. But 2 really good ones. The last one was abysmal. It was almost as bad as the second from last one. Peter says, wow, Pat said, take out an insurance policy. I then thought she was going to say set fire to it. So these are texts from last night, of which there are only 16 pages to go. God. So that probably doesn't make any sense to you. It certainly doesn't make any sense to me. Drummer Phil says, Benny and the Jets not live. The audience was taken from another live recording. The hand clapping was added on the other one and was added on the 1 and the 3. As in, presumably the beats. This is a drummer speaking. It was added on the 1 and the 3. Benny. Like that. Because the producer said the British can't clap in time. Offensive. But what about the whistle, though? You know how to whistle, don't you? You just put your lips together and blow. Well, close. Needs practice. Aylesbury, Francis.
Hello there. Hello, Nick.
Hello there.
Hello. I tell you, the people of Britain are sleepwalking into poverty. I'll tell you why. I saw a report from OECD and the IFS, and when the Tories first came in 12, or when how long ago it was, the average earning of the earning of the average Briton, we had the greater spending power than the average Canadian, Frenchman, German, Australian, and Dutch. But since the Tories have been in, guess how much we'd have to earn now to have the same spending power as citizens of those countries?
50,000.
Pick a figure. Yeah, well, yeah, close. £8,800. So
8,800 is not close to 50.
Yeah, it is, because I went to the same school as mathematics as you did.
As me, right.
Yeah, so I'm very good at maths. So
8,800? You don't mean that?
Yeah. No, true. Look it up, OECD and IFS figures.
And you would earn 8,800 a year?
We need to have the same spending power as the average Frenchman or Canadian or German or Australian or Dutch, compared to what we were 15 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever it was. We'd have to earn £8,800 a year extra.
Extra? Well, you missed that word out. Extra.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, extra.
But I think that that word average does cover up a world of possibilities, and it's probably not being used in the right way, or it's being used in a confusing way, because, I mean, the old example that people give when we talk about average is that, if you walk into a pub and ask people what their wages are and add it all up and divide it by the number of people in the pub, then you might come up with a figure of, let's say, 30,000 or something like that. Wasn't that working? Oh, there it is. Might come up with 30,000. But if Bill Gates walks into that pub and you add up everybody's income and you divide it by the number of people in there, suddenly everyone's a billionaire. So the word average is unclear. And as Liz Truss would say, I have been very clear about that. Clarity is my strength. Thanks a lot, Francis. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Okie dokie.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
Emma emails, the Tories' strength has always been the safekeepers of the economy. You're funny, Emma. And even that's gone to the wall, says Emma. Labour should be streets and streets ahead, but Labour is still too busy trying to work out who they are, despite having 12 years to do so. Yep. I think that's about right. Nathan emails, if Keir is called Crasheroony Snooze Fest, does that make Boris Crasheroony Booze Fest?
Booze.
Yeah. Any comments, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Can't comment on that. Ben emails, will you be doing 10 till 1 Monday to Friday when Swarbrick drives us home? What, Tom Swarbrick has got a job as an Uber? No. Not that I'm aware of. Exeter. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Brilliant. Always nice to talk to you.
Is it?
You know, it is. You know, all these people, they always say that you've helped keep them sane.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't say that you've helped keep me sane, but you've definitely, had a positive effect on my mental health.
Yeah, I've knocked the edge off.
Yeah. I find that my psychiatrist won't see me anymore since he heard that I listened to your programme.
Mm.
But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Parallel Lines.
Oh, yeah.
Because you mentioned the iconic sort of brilliant Blondie album from about 78, 79. It's one of my favourite albums as well.
I wouldn't say that it's one of my favourite albums, but I was speaking to somebody who said it was his.
Oh, that's right. But you said that your favourite track on that album
Fade
was
Away and Radiate.
Rock and roll!
Yeah.
That's correct. And I don't know what you think about this business of, when they say that if you play like records backwards or whatever, you get messages from the devil and that type of...
Yeah, you get messages from Ozzy Osbourne. Ain't that right, Ozzy?
No.
Yes. That's him saying yes backwards.
Well, I had a message from Parallel Lines because I listened to it the other day, prompted by your conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd better re-listen to this. And when it got to the track Heart of Glass,
yeah,
there's a line that says, much a mistrust, love's gone behind.
That is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace. And Blondie should never have been able to get away with it.
I mean, is it me or is
it is
Debbie?
you. Yeah, it's you.
Did Debbie Harry predict the trust bot?
Well, I don't know. Let's get Debbie Harry on the phone and see what she says.
Well, I think she's hanging on the telephone.
Yeah, well, it's the one across the hall. That's what I heard. All right, thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. I'm in the phone booth, it's the one across the hall. Everybody sing! Peter emails, if the Tories facilitated 42 new hospitals, shouldn't someone be investigating the 42 hospitals that they have caused to disappear? Pauline says, a bit worried in case I need one of those scans. What about my metal fillings? Do they drill them out prior? That's an interesting... we were talking last night about MRI machines. You know, the ones that go... Those. I love those. It was me and Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
We were talking about this last week, and somebody had sent us in a recording of one of those machines, and then they put it through some genius bit of equipment, and they were playing a rock track with the sound of this machine.
Rock and roll!
And it was amusing. It's on the podcast that we do.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, Carol McGiffin and I do a podcast. In fact, we're going to tape one tomorrow. It comes out on Monday. And the idea is that we solve people's problems. Now, We're not very good at it, but there's only one way to find out if we can solve your problem, and that's to email it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol@global.com, and gird yourself for satisfaction. And it's about an hour long. We got over, I think we're getting on for 130 of them that we've done. I just cannot believe how many we've done. And it's the hour in the week that I laugh the most. We guffaw our faces off. We do make each other laugh. And I reckon we'll make you laugh too. So if you have an hour and you wish to be amused, it'll be right up your alley. I think you'll love it. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
It's on Global Player, by the way, which you should absolutely have in your life. Global Player. It's on your favourite app store. You can get all of the stations that we do. Don't ask me to list them, because I'll miss out some important ones. And it does a boatload of podcasts as well. But ask for the podcast by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Have I done John in Exeter? Yes, I think I have. Thanks, John in Exeter. Appreciate it. Adam, Chelsea.
Hi, Nick.
Yes, Adam.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you realise, but you was a trendsetter about 2.5, 3 years ago. You warned about this crisis. You know, when all that funny money was being printed, you said that sooner or later people will have to pay. We're going to have to pay for it. And that's when I called up and I to agree with you, because, as I said, in Argentina, inflation had got so out of control, they were eating their pets, and you made that funny noise with the pet. I thought it was funny.
They're eating their pet. That's not a funny story. That's awful.
But you did that little doggy sound. I thought it was funny at the time.
Right, a little doggy sound. Yeah.
No. But it was quite serious, because you did say, you know, we're going to have to pay for this, and it's going to be really serious, because you can't keep on printing money.
Well, I don't recall. Well, I don't recall saying that. But
so
then,
if you listen back,
well, I most certainly will do nothing of the sort. Listen back to every show from now until last year, just to pull up the one.
No, it was about 2.5, 3 years ago.
Right,
just before COVID. But now this is the payback. Unfortunately, I think things are going to get worse. It's already. They're predicting it's going to be about 13%, if you believe the papers at the moment.
Well, I believe some of them, if that's any help.
Yeah. So I don't know if you was an economist in your previous life.
No, I wasn't. No, I definitely was not.
Well, you're good with numbers. You're certainly good with numbers.
I am as good with numbers as Zaphod is.
So obviously, but I know suddenly
just fills the air with noise and numbers signifying nothing.
And 1, 2, 11.
No. Thanks a lot, Adam. I most certainly will do nothing of the sort. Listen back to these old shows. In fact, I do listen back to these old shows in order to produce a podcast, but I'm not going to listen back to every show from here until 3 years ago, just to make sure that I didn't say what I'm pretty sure I didn't say. And that podcast, by the way, comes out on Monday as well. It's called The Nick Abbot Habit. I tell you what, why don't you just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott, and podcasts, and I bet all three will come up as though by magic. I keep saying that, but I've never actually done it myself. I've never done a search. I've never looked up myself on the internet. Nick Abbott podcasts. Let's see what happens. There! You see? The whole show, The Nick Abbott Habit, and What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? 3 of them. Count them.
And 1.
Yes.
2.
3.
6 million.
No. 0345 6060 973. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick. Good evening.
Good evening, Jan.
Glad to be on your show again, or at least I think I'm hoping you'll find what I wanted to. I just found out today, and
wow! Finish one of those. Finish one of those sentences.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
I double dare
I haven't recovered from what I found out today about Bodger, or whatever you want to call him. He how much damage he might do before he's out completely. he's got a list of about 30 people that he's going to make peerages for.
I thought it was 50.
No, well, maybe it's going to be even more. Maybe even more. Which
He
is
should
horrifying.
not be allowed to do that.
No,
He's being fired. Who gets fired and then gets to stuff the board with their chums?
Yeah, but listen to this. This is what shocked me: is that Reed Smog, your smug, is asking to be made a knight commander.
Oh,
And
I bet he
what
is.
the hell is that?
Yeah.
And that's an order of chivalry going back in history.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
he'll
mean,
get to wear a frilly collar and buckles on his shoes. He'll love that.
No, I know. It's. I can't believe he can do this. I mean, originally, I can't believe that Bojo's going to be allowed to do this.
No, I can't believe it either. This country is... I don't recognise this country anymore. What the hell has happened? This is not a government. This is a smash and grab raid. It's a coup. We have been taken over. This is ridiculous. How is he being allowed to do this? I tell you what, Rishi Sunak, if you are awake, not Rishi Sunak, well, the other one, Keir Starmer. If Keir Starmer is actually awake right now and he hasn't taken a nap for the next 2 years, just say you're going to eliminate, change and get rid of, in its entirety, the House of Lords. Just say that. Just say something that we can associate with the Labour Party that's not nothing.
Yeah, he's a real disappointment. I've always voted Labour, but I'm so disappointed with what's going on in the party. But look, this business about this is Bojo's way of rewarding those who've been loyal to him.
It's worse than that, Jan. It's his way of securing his future. He's not interested in rewarding people. He doesn't think of anybody else other than his own wonderful self. He's not being nice to other people. He's being nice to himself.
Have you seen Nadine Dorries? How she's always giving him adoring look, and he's going to make her a peerage. Give her a peerage for her because she claims that he's ousted because it's due to a coup. A coup that he's been ousted.
There has been a coup, but not that kind of coup. Not the coup that she's talking about.
What kind of coup is? What kind of coup is there in there?
Well, we appear to have been taken over by vandals in the old sense of the word. We appear to have been taken over by people who don't have this country in this country's interests at the top of their to-do list.
Yeah, it's really. Gosh, I mean, I can't believe what's going on.
Neither
really.
can I. I am really just genuinely bemused how this has been allowed to happen, and it's been allowed to happen because he's the funny bloke off the telly.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Leave him alone. He's doing his best.
What if he bounces back? What if he finds some awful way of bouncing back?
He will. Trust me, Jan, he is not going away. He is not going away. He's just swum out to sea. Shamu will be back. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Every day is more of a nightmare being thrown at us. Or is being revealed to us.
And just when you thought that the nightmare had actually ended, we might get some relief from the constant careening around. There's this sort of directionless travel.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That we find that with the two that are the selection between the gruesome twosome that one of them is going to take over. It's actually going to get worse.
Oh, no, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it can be either of those two at the moment who are in the running. There's going to be a big surprise. It's got to be... Oh, well, hopefully the big surprise isn't Bojo bouncing back.
Yeah,
but
that'd be the only...
someone hiding in the wings.
Someone hiding in the wings. Well, I wonder if Mr. Blobby is available, because at this point, I think anything would be better. All right, thanks a lot, Jan. Chin up, it might never oh no, that's right, it already has. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation. LBC, with Nick Abbott.
Well done. whole world's gone crazy.
Well, this corner of it, no doubt about that. 0345 6060 973. Sue texts, I had an NHS phone appointment with a physio on Monday at my surgery. He emailed me some neck exercises and told me to take paracetamol. Should I claim back the money I had to pay a private physio to see me face-to-face and treat me? Right. A physio emailed you exercises and told you to take a paracetamol. Philippa texts, I agree the best cure for hiccups, water from the opposite side of a glass bending over. Works every time. Yes, it does. It works every time for me. It's the only thing that works. It's just embarrassing when you have to do it in the middle of a restaurant. Because, like, hot food just sets me off. Like, really, really hot food. Like, you'll be eating a Thai meal or, like, Chinese or something like that. And you'll bite down on a piece of chili that you shouldn't order. And then I can feel it coming on. I think, oh, God, here we go. And it's painful. And you can't relax with it. And every time I get it, I do think back to that one TV news item that I saw decades ago of some bloke who had hiccups for years. And there was nothing that he could do to get rid of it. I think he'd had operations to try and get rid of it. Nothing worked. And so I do freak out just a little bit whenever I get hiccups. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
But what always works for me is drinking water from the opposite side of a glass. You've got to bend right over so that your head is virtually upside down and concentrate very, very hard so that the water doesn't end up going up your nose or all over the floor. And it does look a little bit silly in the middle of a restaurant. But who cares, right? We're talking about our health here. Manchester, hello, Louise.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you today?
I am great, mate.
Wonderful. Good. Okay. I heard something rather disturbing on the radio today. The soul of the Conservative Party is being fought for.
The soul? They've got to find it first. The soul. They're fighting over the soul.
Yeah. And then they said the heart. What? Talk that one will you go? It's ha, 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 ha. You know, one of your single things.
The heart.
Because I
The
found
heart
that
and the soul.
amusing.
It sounds a bit like the Wizard of Oz. If only they had a brain.
Well, they didn't actually say. They didn't actually do the three, you know, the three of them, but they just said fighting for the heart and then the soul. I thought, oh my God, we are doomed because their soul was as black as whatever. I don't know.
Coal.
I mean,
let's go with coal.
And the House of Lords, they put any more in. I mean, they've got about 800 in there now. About £300 a day they're getting.
And all they do to get that £300 a day is pop their head around the door and say, I'm here, and then they slope off for lunch, which, by the way, is subsidised by us poor dopes who pay taxes. What a racket. Yeah. Best club in the world. The only club that actually comes with a way to monetise your membership by selling off your name to any dodgy old company that comes along. Like a bank, for instance. You just sell your... you can put my name, Lord, on your headed notepaper, thereby giving you some sense of legitimacy. And they pay you to be a member. Best club in the world.
Yeah. Now, I would call them traitors to the country, actually, because they're sucking us dry in there.
Oh, sucking, you said, right, okay.
Or bleeding us dry.
Yeah, okay.
Bleeding us dry. Maybe
put clear water in between those words, yeah. Bleeding us dry, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Baba. Yeah, so the only way you have to deal with it is just laugh and think, help, where's Gandalf the White, from Lord of the Rings? We need one of those, and Keir Starmer certainly isn't that. So
we need a Gandalf the White.
Yeah, not the grey, the white.
Right.
We need, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's that's an interesting. I can't remember what Gandalf the White was. That was that Ian McKellen? Was that him?
Eat that correctamundo.
You
would say.
shall not Pass. That bloke. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, we'll see if he's busy. And if he ain't, then he can come over and whip up some magic spells. Thanks a lot, Louise. 0345 6060 973. They're battling over the heart and the soul of the Conservative Party. Funny, no?
No.
Martin emails, who is your favourite classical composer? Well, I don't really know much about classical music, other than I like Classic FM.
Yowza.
It's relaxing. I like Anne-Marie Minhall, out of Classic FM. I like the Tweety Bird song by, what's his name? You know, whenever they do that, your top 100 favourite classical pieces, it always comes out as number one. The Tweety Bird song. Twiddly-doo, twiddly-doodly-doo. Like that. Oh, what sweet music it makes. By, what's his name? I can't be any clearer than that, Martin. What more do you want? Julia says, Johnson is a malfunction, though we don't have many options. Hard times for many ahead. You're malfunctioning, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It does sound like he needs a tune-up. Watching Fishy on the Kay Burley debate, when he sat down, his trousers turned into shorts. Says Peter. Magic. Like a trick. Apparently he gets those suits tailor-made to fit. I don't know who he gets them tailor-made to fit, but it ain't him. If I had a bit of money, I think I'd get a better suit than that. It looks like he's shopped in Marks and Spencer's school uniform department. You know who tweets, did you see Kwesi Kwarteng on TV? He said the government weren't absent and he was on there wearing a suit. Yeah, look, I'm wearing a suit, Mum. I'm in charge. Oi. The government's not on holiday. Yes, they are. They've left Dominic Deckchair Raab in charge. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Alexander tweets, hiccups, hold your breath for 10 minutes. No more hiccups, thank me later. No, I'm going to thank you now.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Alexander. I'll definitely try that. 10 minutes, you say? Judy says, does the hosepipe ban include colonic irrigation? Is that what farmers use for, watering the crops? I think it is. Steve says, take your deepest breath, back straight, shoulders back, and say watermelon with your full chest and throat. Goodbye hiccups, no need to thank me now or later, said Steve. Tasha says, I just ate a plum whilst you were talking about it. These are still texts and tweets from last night. Let me see how many pages I've got left. Hang on a minute. How many? 15. God, it doesn't get any better, does it? Because I don't know how these people get my number, but the messages just keep coming in. They're piling up. I can't get through them quick enough. So these are all hiccups suggestions, which we don't need to bother ourselves with. Teresa says, is the state of the country down to a bet made by the brothers Mortimer and Randolph Duke from the movie Trading Places? It seems to be for the amusement of the rich, judging by who is on offer, i.e. Fishy and Truss. Well, somebody seems to be having a good time, but it's not us, is it? Are we here to amuse you? We're here to make you laugh like a clown? I haven't got enough time before the news to get another one in, so I'll take that after the news. Meanwhile, I'll try and plough my way through some of these. Paul emails, what better way to bring all public services to their knees than to continue flooding the country with the dross of the world? What are you talking about? Which dross? Helen says, did you see the face of the blonde woman last night when Liz Truss stuck up for Bojo? Also, what are you doing for your birthday? I don't know. Well, it depends on when it falls. I might be here. Checking for you while you wait. No, it's on a Monday, so I will probably be sleeping, having done 3 days in a row. I'll be absolutely exhausted. I work 9 hours a week. I think hero status is probably what's attached to that. Jane says, is there anybody out there running the country? Anybody steering the ship? Anyone at all? Marie says, did you know that Raab's nickname in the Netherlands is turnip? It comes from the Dutch word for it, raap. Turnip. Well, I like that. Zach says, the best cheese I've had is creamy Kaltbach from Switzerland, available from Waitrose. Yeah, I believe I've had that myself. Bob says, I've got a question about cheese. Why do mouldy cheeses like Stilton have a use-by date on them? Who decides when mould is no longer edible? Experts, Bob. Lucy says, I'm sure that some callers think your Friday and Saturday night show is serious. Yeah, every now and again you get a caller who... I suspect that some of them aren't actually listening to the radio at all. They just think, oh, I just had a thought about, I don't know, the NHS. I'm going to call in LBC. I'll speak to, whoever's on. I'm going to stop their show, deaden its tracks, and swerve it my way, they think. And, when they get onto this show, they're in for a big surprise. Huge. Oh, look at the time. It's 11:30 on LBC, the news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
And I can't stand him.
0345 6060 973. Ada texts, 2/3 of our cheese comes from France.
That is a disgrace.
Here is Beverly in Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.